Hey,
How are you, Slash? My first question is that. How do you feel? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you.
I appreciate that you take these minutes to speak with us. First of all, I know that making music it's quite difficult in troubled times like this. So tell me about the creative process of this record and how was with all the turmoil around us and around your band.
Well, the creative process, during the sort of worst part of the pandemic, I just sort of locked myself away in the studio and was doing a lot of writing and recording demos and just creating stuff. And some of that new material went into this record, and then a lot of the material came from 2019 because we write when we're on the road. And so on our last tour, a lot of this material was written on the last tour. So I just compiled all that and got, sent demos out to the guys because we couldn't all get together. Sent demos to the guys. And then eventually when things sort of lightened up, they came into Los Angeles and we got together and we did a couple weeks of pre-production, getting the arrangements together. And then we drove out to Nashville and recorded the album.
Nashville is a great place to record albums and to feel the music. Do you see any difference between the songs that you made in 2019 and the ones on the pandemic?
Well, the ones during the pandemic, there's only four that I put on this record that were written during that period. And they were all influenced by the situation. Musically, each one came out of a mood that was basically the product of frustration and anxiety over being, all the different things that the pandemic was frustrating and sort of sad and also being. Gonzalo, you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Yeah, your video disappeared. Okay. Anyway, and just the pent up frustration of not being able to go anywhere. So those four songs were influenced by those feelings.
And how was how was the way that you were with your band? It was kind different between the first part of the record and this part, or was it like this kind of anxiety making a cathartic way to do more art?
I think we were excited when we got together finally to do that couple weeks of pre-production and actually go into the studio. After being sort of, so many restrictions for so long, we were really anxious to get going. So we had a really great time getting together and working together during that period. Because everybody was, sort of really tired of being sort of cooped up in their house, and to actually, and the other thing was just to interact with other human beings musically, like to physically work together because, it'd been a really long time that everybody was working by themselves.
Yeah, I can understand that because I think that there are two things that the musicians needs the most. One is the contact with the other part of their bands, and the other one is the public, the audience, the acceptance, by the applause or the cheering or the sing along of the public. How do you feel about this possibility of being again with the audience and that the audience could feel your music on a live act?
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually did a tour with Guns N' Roses a few months ago, and that was the first tour that I've been involved with in front of actual people, and it was really explosive. You can only imagine. You've got, however many people that are looking just to get out of the house and go somewhere and have entertainment and have fun and forget about all this sort of pandemic nonsense for a minute. And then you've got musicians who have been cooped up at home that are dying to get in front of an audience and have been, sort of frustrated and all that. So they all come together. And so that those live performances are fucking amazing, because they're so explosive. So I'm really looking forward to this tour coming up.
Does the feeling it's different from 2019? Do you feel a different sensation for being in front of the audience after the lockdown?
Yeah, well, you can definitely feel it in the audience because Yeah, they've been wound up. They've been sort of been living by these new rules for a year, and finally there's something that they can go out and do, that's sort of fun and entertaining. And and so there's a hunger for getting out there that they don't normally, that's not normal. Their energy level is on 12,
I can understand that.
And it's the same for the artists. It's the same for the musicians.
One of the consequences of this lockdown is like this kind of exchange, this virtual exchange that we can relate and we can this kind of conversation, but also it's like the loss of privacy because are you in your house, for example?
Yeah, I'm at home right now. Yeah.
And I can see your dinosaur collection that I don't know if you are agreeing to share with the audience. How do you feel about this kind of new interaction with the audience and with the press?
It's different. I mean, it's just something that you sort of, I guess, you get used to, because you have to do all this promo and whatnot. And so instead of going somewhere and doing it in person, you're doing it from. But I mean, you have control over the environment, right? You can do it wherever you want to do it. This just happens to be my office, and so at home, and so it's fine. It's just something you have to get used to.
And I have to ask, where did you became so dinosaur fan?
Oh, ever since I was really little, when I used to live in England, I was obsessed with dinosaurs, and I never grew out of it. So I'm still that little kid that loves dinosaurs.
What's your favorite of the ones that are and on the back of you?
Oh, well, let's see. There's a T-Rex right there that someone just gave me as a Christmas present that I really like. But yeah, there's a ton of them.
Quite easy there to give you a present. Let's only
Oh
get
yeah,
that.
yeah. T-shirts and dinosaurs, and I'm all good. And
That's
guitars. And guitars. Don't leave guitars out.
let's talk again about this record. How was the selection of the songs? How did you chose the songs that will be on the final record?
It was actually it was sort of hard at first because over the period of the first year of the pandemic, I wrote a lot of material. So what I did was I took all the material that we wrote in 2019, because that was supposed to be for the newest record at that time. So, and it was all good songs. So I took all those songs, and I insisted that we only put 10 songs on this record. I've been trying to do a record with 10 or 8 songs on it forever, and I haven't been able to do it. So on this record, I said it has to be only 10 songs. So I took the 6 songs from the tour, and then out of all the new material, I took 4 of the most recent songs that were sort of influenced by the situation and made that the 10. So there's a bunch of material that'll go on the next record that I have in the can. But that's basically how I did it.
I would imagine that you prefer to do records and not to release single by single.
I mean, we've been actually releasing not what you call singles. Well, yeah, I guess you call them singles. We've released 3 songs so far, and we're probably going to release another one. But the album will actually come out in February. So as long as there's a body of work, which we call a record or a CD, I don't mind releasing individual songs off of it, as long as that there is, at the end of the day, a final product, which is the compilation of all the material.
I can correct myself. I was thinking about a record that has some like a controlling idea, so that so the audience or your fans could hear it from start to end and said, I can understand all the idea or all the controlling art that Slash and his band are sending to us.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you do a record, it's sort of a collection of ideas that were in the moment. You know, it's sort of like a reflection of a snapshot in time, you know, like just that particular period. So yeah, I'm sort of old school. I like the idea of having a record of what we're doing at that moment.
Mhm. And if it's a snapshot of the moment, I think it's quite difficult for the songs that are right now on the file to see again the light, because I know that you as a musician are imagining new ideas moment by moment.
Yeah, you're constantly working on new stuff, but I mean, it would it would be crazy if every time I had an idea, I recorded it and released it. You know, that'd be pretty funny.
But like the kids that are always with a phone and always making some riffs and something like that.
Yeah, no, I've always got my guitar with me, and that's really sort of like where the songs come from. Like when we're on the road, you know, during sort of downtime, either in hotel rooms or in dressing rooms or on the bus, I have my guitar and I record ideas on my telephone, and then I
Mhm.
compile all that. So when we get off the road, I go into my studio or whatever, and we start piecing together all those ideas, you know. And a lot of times I'll take those ideas and I'll bring them to sound check and I'll start working on them with the band. So like we'll be playing on tour and every single gig for a week we'll work on one particular song, you know.
Mhm. What's your favorite riff?
What's my favorite riff
Mhm.
on this record or just
Of,
in general?
or your career?
Oh, there's too many. I mean, there's so many good riffs. If I named one, I'd have to name 1,000. You know.
And if I have to ask, if you have a favorite riff, one of your favorite artists, what would it be?
Shit. I mean, like I said, there's so many of them. I could name, you know, fucking Black Dog from Led Zeppelin is an easy one, or you know, Whole Lot of Love. Those are two good ones. Um, you know, Walk This Way, or Back in the Saddle from Aerosmith. Down Payment Blues from AC/DC. Born Under a Bad Sign from Albert King. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. They're all favorites of mine. There's no one favorite. You know?
I think there are many people that are listening to you right now that are thinking about their favorite riffs by Slash. How do you feel about your influence in new bands and emerging groups that are listening to your music and says, "Ah, I want to follow that path"?
I mean, it's a really flattering concept. You know, it's hard for me to really you know, some people will say, yeah, I was influenced by your band or influenced by this record or whatever. And it's such a huge compliment that it's hard to believe that's even real. Do you know what I mean? It's hard for myself to put myself in that perspective to think that we actually people listen to our records and are influenced by them, you know?
Slash, my time has run out, and it was a pleasure to speak with you. And good luck, and hope to see you soon here in Mexico.
Yeah, man. It was good talking to you and definitely see you sooner than later. All right.
Thank you very
Cool.
much.
All right. Cheers.